It's my pleasure to introduce our first speaker this morning, our keynote speaker, Bishop Harris.
Just want to thank you all very much for your presence today. And this is really kind of a historical moment in the history of the Diocese of Allentown as we move forward with these vibrant parish pastoral councils. And let's keep in mind one of the things about, in the political world, we often say come election time, it's about the economy, stupid. In church life, the equivalent would be, it's about the parish. And that's why we're here today. And our focus on parish life and the communion and mission between our parishes and the fact that vibrant parishes make a vibrant diocese, and a diocese in service to the parishes is what really creates the energy and allows us to really move forward in the Holy Spirit. Let's, in that spirit of communion and mission, if you would join me in maybe offering this day for the parishioners of St. Anne's Emmaus. It's been a very, very difficult and painful time for the entire diocese, but in a special way for St. Anne's Emmaus. I'll be there celebrating the 5:30 Mass this evening, the 9 and 10:30 Masses tomorrow, and I'll speak at the 7:30 and 12 noon Masses. So if we could maybe offer this morning for that wonderful parish. And Fred Kimmick is with us here today. He's the chair of their pastoral council and one of our presenters. I must confess, I am a real amateur social media person. I've been working on it with Liz Bartolet and Matt Kerr, our communications people, over the last few years. And we put out 3 tweets a day. I kind of write them myself because I find it a good workshop in sound bites. But and I get very modest returns on the 3 tweets I send. But recently there was a tweet, I'd say 2 weeks ago, that really kind of really got so many more hits than anything I've ever really done. I'd like to read it to you. Our families need their parish family. The parish family needs each and every family. Just one more time. Our families need their parish family. The parish family needs each and every family. In social media, you have kind of a sociological experiment. The fact that this phrase took off tells me there is a hunger and thirst for communion and mission between our domestic churches of family and our parish families. Just a few things, and Monsignor James has my crozier in the background. If I go 1 second over 20 minutes, he's going to take that crozier out. We have a really rich presentations today, and there is so much content, but we guarantee you we're going to get you out of here at 1 o'clock because I know everyone has a lot to do. Just one of the center pieces of our parish pastoral councils in the Diocese of Allentown are the 5 aspirational goals. They've been in the 80 times. It's good for all of us to review them. And it's kind of a dimension of the Holy Spirit leading us in communion and mission together. These 5 aspirations are a wonderful guidance and aspirations for our parish pastoral councils as the Holy Spirit sets them in motion. Just want to go over them with you very briefly. First one, the Diocese of Allentown, driven by vibrant and welcoming parish communities, will become a compelling and influential national model of missionary growth, benefiting the entire church in the United States. That's pretty ambitious. It's an ambition in the Holy Spirit. It's a humble ambition in the Holy Spirit. And it's really against all the CARA, INPEW, demographic reports that we read about the Catholic Church in the Northeast of the United States. But, we can read the demographic reports and the CARA reports, and we can go over in that corner and whine, or we can take the bold spirit of the saints who are both holy and missionary and take the challenges of our time and be humble models for the rest of the country in terms of dramatic missionary growth. We want a big picture kind of growth that not only results in vibrant missionary growth and evangelization in the Diocese of Allentown, but that has ripple effects around this country. That's what we're aspiring to do. And our parish pastoral councils are so key to this missionary growth. Very much connected to number one, increase Sunday Mass attendance by 10%. That's quite difficult, and it's quite a challenge. But our parish pastoral counselors are going to help us discern this. One of the temptations of parish pastoral councils will be for them to turn into basic reporting meetings with written reports and a little bit of discussion around the reports. We need something with great vision and a great transformational kind of approach. We need our parish pastoral councils to be scheming and strategizing about evangelization, about holiness and mission. One of the key dimensions of the Second Vatican Council documents, and we've been celebrating their 50-year anniversaries, is the call to universal holiness and the apostolate of the laity in the world. The apostolate of the laity really focuses on the fact that the laity have a unique perch, providentially, in the secular world, in the professional working world, and in the public square. And so instead of compartmentalizing our faith, being insular in our parish life, the vibrant community, communion, and mission in our parish life is designed to follow the logic of the dismissal of the Mass, to send us out in the world and to light the world on fire in the most secular circumstances with Christ's love in all of its different dimensions. Let's take Father Andy for a second. Let's say at Holy Infancy, we've got two people on the parish council. Maybe one person is a vibrant professional in Bethlehem or Allentown. Maybe they're a civil lawyer or in the business world. Maybe there's somebody on the pastoral council who works in janitorial services in South Bethlehem, or maybe in some of the new buildings in the city of Allentown. It's precisely their secular experience, whether as a lawyer in janitorial services, that they bring to that pastoral council and to parish life that is so critical. And then in turn, the pastoral council and parish life nourishes and focuses our laity to be vibrant people in the working world and in the public square. We need Catholics in a very sensitive public square, believe me, we all are aware of it, to be able to stand up boldly, humbly, courageously, within their working expertise and their background, for the splendor of truth of Catholic teaching, and never to be intimidated. We need to be able to pick up the cross and to be able to really witness in the secular world. Sometimes in parish life, we have a very correct emphasis on building community within the parish, but there are some times where we compartmentalize. We don't quite realize that in parish life we're called to launch. It's the logic of the dismissal of the Mass. We're called to launch people in the world, and then in turn to be really receive the benefit of the experiences they're having in the world. The other thing, in terms of increasing Sunday Mass attendance by 10%, one of the goals, too, for our pastoral councils is a new and kind of vibrant liturgical catechesis. When we did the translations a few years ago, did you notice how every person, there was just this incredible creativity in terms of teaching about the cosmic power of the Catholic Mass, and people were really inspired. We've got to bottle that. And pastoral councils need to strategize about how we catechize every age group, but in a special way our young people, to realize that when they are in tune with the body and blood of Christ and the sacrifice of the Mass, that's when their lives really are set on fire. That's when their vocations are discerned beautifully and their mission in the world and in the church. Number 3, increase the number of seminarians in the Diocese of Allentown from 15 to 45. Well, we're up to 16, Monsignor James. But there was a huge breakthrough this year, and I personally, if there was such a thing as Vocation Director of the Year, I would be fighting for Monsignor James and all his team, because at Quo Vadis and Fiat this year, we had, the number was 49 young men, 27 girls, 40 to 50% Hispanic. It was this incredible breakthrough, and I just summarize it in one conversation I had with a young man over a Frisbee game at Quo Vadis and Fiat. His name is Ben Carbonaro. He's 10th grade at Allentown Central Catholic High School. He's part of our cathedral serving team. Like a lot of teenage boys, you can't get too much out of Ben. So I went up to him at the Frisbee game and I said, "Ben, how's it going?" He said, "It's life-changing." It's life-changing. That told me everything, but you could just feel that it was just amazing. As I read Monsignor James and his team's material, I thought to myself, this is a little ambitious. A full hour in front of the Blessed Sacrament, this incredible catechesis, this blend of service. This is wonderful. Can they pull it off? As I did my little sociological experiment talking to the young people, the key thing they liked in a social media addicted world for young people was an hour of silence in front of the Blessed Sacrament. Unbelievable. Then when I looked into the parents' eyes, they were just so incredibly grateful to Monsignor James, those seminarians and priests and everyone who is involved. We have made a huge breakthrough, and we already have, it's kind of like the vocational equivalent to AAA Iron Pigs. This is our farm team, and we already have 4 in the seminary from Quo Vadis. Congratulations, Monsignor James, and to everyone. Then Diocese of Allentown's Catholic educational system will be known nationally for its breakthrough approaches to dynamic Catholic identity, academic excellence, increasing enrollment, and service to the poor and mission areas of the diocese. Yesterday afternoon, our new Chancellor of Education went to St. Jerome's School in Tamaqua, and he had a wonderful visit. There's a vibrant young principal who is really addressing all sorts of wonderful things, and there's a beautiful spirit in that school. Then John Bakey had a 1-hour conversation with Father John Frink. He was inspired by Father Frink's kind of emphasis on mission rather than maintenance, kind of breakthrough approaches to discerning in our parish pastoral councils and our parish life how to really move forward to evangelize. It was an example of the kind of conversations and action that need to occur. Father Frank, thank you very much. And then the ministries of the Diocese of Allentown will be good Samaritan beacons of hope and light to all who are suffering by compassionately affirming the sanctity of human life and the dignity of worth of every individual. Many Catholics and non-Catholics will be drawn to deeper participation in the mission of the Church because of these ministries. Our 3 special learning centers, when I go to those galas, I run into couples in their 40s. I'll give you a concrete example. John Paul II, Berks County Gala, a couple came up to me and said, we were just really not into religion. And, we got drawn into the mission of John Paul II Special Learning Center. We were inspired by what was going on there. And suddenly we had questions about the mission of the church, and maybe this is something worth taking a look at. And suddenly this couple is in the RCIA, and that's how our Catholic charities and our outreach to the poor and to those in crisis, all the different dimensions of Catholic charities, all of these different dimensions of the church's social ministry and advancement of the sanctity of human life result in evangelization. You can't separate social justice and the sanctity of human life from a beautiful evangelization that reaches both hearts and minds. So these aspirational goals should really be at every meeting. They should be point of reference. They may not be on the agenda at every meeting, but it's something that results in communion and mission with all our parishes. Okay, I've talked about the apostolate of laity, the logic of that the pastoral council, in addition to really working on the community life of the parish, is strategizing about how we make our parishioners stronger in the public square and stronger in the working world. And vibrant and welcoming parish communities that evangelize. There is so much wisdom in this world. I mean, when I go around, I just look at the faces of some of our pastors, and I just marvel at their creativity and their gumption in the way they find new ways to make people feel really welcome and kind of gradually and beautifully draw them into parish life. We've talked about dramatic missionary growth in the parish. Outreach to inactive Catholics. This is a key dimension of parish pastoral councils in the Diocese of Allentown. That parish pastoral councils will really talk a lot about how to motivate parishioners to really reach out to inactive Catholics. In our working worlds, it's amazing how shameless we can be about the asks we need to make to survive professionally. I had a cousin who, a few years ago when I became the Bishop of Allentown, I hadn't talked to him for 30 years. Suddenly I got a letter saying he wanted to be involved as a marketing consultant for the diocese. He made a professional ask. It was really bold. Do we have 2% of that kind of boldness in our outreach to inactive Catholics? So pastoral councils need to be the leaven to raise consciousness about how our parishioners can really reach out to the inactive Catholics in our parish. Now, the temptation will be this. I know in the abstract we need to do that, but I just don't know how to go after it. You will. These pastoral councils, you're on the ground. You know the actual dynamics and history of your parish and the people in front of you in the pews. And so it'll be so important that we're consistent about finding ways to motivate parishioners to reach out to inactive Catholics. That's critical to this 10% growth. We've talked a lot about the formation of the parish as a school of prayer and evangelization, that we're finding ways, creative ways to pray, building up people's spiritual life so that they can be more powerful missionaries, that they can be willing to really go out there and to evangelize in the world. And finally, one of the key dimensions of right from the very beginning, and this will be the beautiful discernment of our talented and creative pastors, we want Eucharistic adoration-driven parish pastoral councils. There is something about spending, we get so active and so we equate, we're Americans, we connect hyperactivity with productivity. But our pastoral councils are going to be most productive when we have very intentional periods of silence as a council around our pastors in front of the Blessed Sacrament. Our beautiful pastors will know what will work. People have had long days. But every meeting, that'll be part of our culture or our pastoral councils. There'll be some contact with the Eucharist. Some meeting, there'll be a Mass. Another meeting, there may be maybe 15 minutes in front of the Blessed Sacrament and a monstrance. Maybe, for different circumstances, it's just everyone going to the church for a 5-minute visit to the Blessed Sacrament. Our pastors will figure it out. But let's, from the ground floor, make our parish pastoral councils deeply biblical and deeply Eucharistic. Thank you so much. I finished a minute early.